levels of criminals, too, involved in this, from the top of corporations all the way down to the bottom of people who just stand around and do nothing but take orders. Like you said, small sheep of the hierarchy. Maybe people who've had felonies who can't turn themselves around, who are getting let out of jail. And they're told, hey, either, harass this person or you're going back to jail.
Sure. I'm sure that's being done.
Or they're, taking people who are involved with drugs, and they're telling them, hey, we know you're hooked on drugs. We'll give you Coke, and if you don't go with us, we're going to put you in the cell or whatever and hold the drugs back from you, or we're going to charge you with possession or whatever. I think sometimes people are forced into this, and they don't want to do it, but there's a lot of people who do want to do it, like I said, from the top all the way to lower level people, who might not want to go out to work for a living, who just feel grateful to have this attention or whatever it is they're getting from this group. I've read also that one target can cost between $1 and $5 million a year in expense. So they're spending a lot of money to target us.
Yeah, it's black op money, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it was illegal, dirty money. The CIA has such it's hard to comprehend the money that they have from their dirty operations. And we're never going to know about all of it. But they have so many different business fronts, and they have such an incredible advantage over a legitimate business because they can wipe out their competition. They can, if you have a business competing with a CIA front, they can attack you every night with directed energy weapons.
Yeah, you're going to fail.
Sure. Yeah, they can, sabotage your vehicle to bankrupt, any number of things. A TI knows what they can do to a human being. And it's covert. It's your word against theirs. And so much of it is done to look like, give them plausible deniability. They'll make it look like it could have happened. You could have had this bad break. But your bad breaks defy the odds. They're never-ending bad breaks.
Yeah, it's constant.
Yeah. So, eventually, with everybody, at some point, life, your luck turns around, unless you're a TI. Your luck is constant, and it's bad. Your
bad luck is constant.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's bad. It never ends. And they never leave you alone. They never leave you alone. They just keep coming at you, and it doesn't matter if you're home sick, you don't feel good. If you lay in bed later, they stick with you. Whatever time I go to bed at night, the voices begin. And if I get up in the morning at 11, that's when they stop. They will stay with me all day. If I lay down to go to bed or go to sleep or whatever, that's the time they really begin to get me. But it doesn't matter. It's not like they're on a schedule. They do what they want to do, and they stay as long as they want to stay. And there's no set time, not like they're here for 3 or 4 hours. They will stay as long as they have to. You had mentioned earlier depopulation by the New World Order. What do you think of the cyclone and of the earthquake in China? Do you think that's man-made?
Absolutely. The tsunamis, I believe, are man-made. Whether it's some sort of a sonic weapon that causes a shock to the floor of the ocean. I believe they are. I believe hurricanes are man-made. Can be.
Can be.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure a lot of these horrible disasters we're seeing are not, acts of God. I think they're acts of military.
And for the purpose of depopulating.
Well, and creating chaos to keep our mind off the ball. There are so many distractions being created to keep everybody's mind off the ball. If there's anything important, make a headline, they water it down with the latest Britney Spears news. Or,
a distraction. You know.
Absolutely. And, some of these catastrophes have happened at very suspicious times, and
well, Britney Spears, you know what? I feel sorry for her because I've heard people say that she might be a mind control experiment as well. She always has bad luck, the poor kid,
I think she might be.
She might be. I'd love to interview her sometime because I think I know what she's going through. And someone suggested to me, why don't you try to get an interview with her, and that might be a good idea. I mean, this girl came, she had talent, and she came into a lot of money at a young age, and she had children in her family, and she's the perfect target, let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
So, they do throw in distractions such as Britney Spears and other things that pop up, you're right. And another thing I was going to ask you is about this cyclone. What amazes me is aid. It hasn't been allowed in there. I don't think it's even been allowed in there yet. And these people are dying. And the aid ship sinks. Did you read that? One of the aid ships sunk.
No.
I mean, come on. It's sunk. And then the other aid I read was being confiscated and not getting to the people who needed it. And then I read that another cyclone was headed towards them and that they were not warned. They picked it up on the internet or other networking channels, that the government did not warn them. Did you read about that?
I really don't always get current news.
Well, why would that be? Why aren't people being helped?
Sure.
People are dying there. And
Katrina.
Look at Hurricane Katrina. To me, I still believe that was a way to kill off a poor population.
Yeah. FEMA people were trying to come in there with supplies left and right. FEMA wouldn't let them in the area. And FEMA wouldn't help people while they were dying on the rooftops. It's just such a sickening thing.
And how they sat at the Superdome for days with other dead bodies. People had to live there. There were rapes there. One lady stayed in a wheelchair dead for days in the Superdome. And there's living people around there. There's a lot of disease and things that come with what happened down there. And to me, it was just a way to kill off a poor population. I could not believe what I saw when I was watching the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, Hartley,
yes.
What do you think will happen from here? We're going to wrap it up in a few minutes because I could go on and talk forever, and so can you. So what do you think is going to happen from this point forward? What do you see as a future for this country, as a future for organized stalking victims? Are we playing the end game? What do you think?
Yeah, we're playing the end game, and hopefully we gain better ground. We're able to, we have such limited exposure. So I'm hoping that, some people in Congress grow a spine and, really start helping victims of a problem that they do know exists. So rather than just ignore it, I hope, more people get involved and, address the greatest problem in our country, really, is, mind control and directed energy weapon abuses. I can't imagine a bigger problem right now that exists. So, if it gets proper exposure and some important people do their jobs, if people were doing their jobs, this wouldn't be a problem because it would get addressed and something would be done.
But if it is the end game, then